Welcome to Golden Software's video training for Surfer 14. Surfer is a versatile gridding, contouring, and surface mapping software package. In this video, I will cover how to create base maps, how to edit the base map layer properties, and how to perform simple editing commands on the objects within the base layer. Base maps plot images, points, lines, or areas and are created from imported or downloaded files. These files can either be vector files like DXF or shape files, image files like JPEG or TIFF, or ASCII data files. If the file is georeferenced, it will import with the appropriate real-world map coordinates. To create a new base map, click Home, New Map, Base, and select one of the base map options. You can click Base to create a base map by importing a vector or image file. You can click Base from Data to create a base map by importing a data file. You can click Base from Server to create a base map by downloading imagery or vectors from a WMS server. And you can create an empty base map by clicking Empty Base Map. We will click Base to load in a vector file. In the Import dialog, choose your image or vector file and click Open. The base map is created with the default properties. We can expand the base layer in the Contents window to see each of the objects within the layer. In this case, the layer contains polygons for each of the counties of New Hampshire. You can edit the properties of the base layer and of the individual objects within the base layer. To edit the properties of the base layer, click the layer in the Contents window. All of the properties for the layer are displayed in the Properties window. Changing any of the properties in the Properties window will automatically update the map. The General page contains many generic options. In the Input File section, next to the file name in the Input File field, you can click the Open File button to change or reload the file used to create the base layer, and you can click the Save File button to save the file out as a new file. In the Properties section, you are presented with the properties that apply to the objects within the layer. Since this layer only contains polygons, we see line properties and fill properties. If our layer contained text objects, we would see font properties, and if our layer contained symbols, we would see symbol properties. Base layers containing only images will not contain a properties section, but properties for the image can be edited by selecting the image object within the base layer. Changing the properties in this properties section will update all applicable objects. On the Labels page, you can label the objects with an attribute. GSB files like this one, MIF files, and shape files are just some of the file formats that support attributes. To label the objects with an attribute, select the type of label from the Labels Source drop-down list. You can choose from any of the attributes, or you can choose to use a template. If you choose to use a template, you can click the Text Editor button in the Template field to create a template. Templates can display multiple attributes and additional text. Below the template, we can set the position of the labels relative to the polygon center point, the label angle, and the label font properties. The Layer page is where you control the opacity for the entire base map layer. You can adjust the opacity using the slide bar or by typing in a new value. The Coordinate System page displays the coordinate system of the file used to create the base map layer. If the name shown is unreferenced local system, the layer does not have a coordinate system associated with it. To manually set the coordinate system, or to load in a georeferencing file containing coordinate system information, click the Set button. The Info page displays information about the selected object. For objects in the base map, this information could include length or area measurements or attribute information. The measurements in the Geometry section can be displayed in map units or in page units. If you want to change the map units, you can do so in the properties for the map. For the base map layer itself, there usually isn't any information to display here. You can delete an object from the base layer by selecting it and pressing delete on your keyboard. You can edit the properties of an individual object within the base map layer by selecting the object and then editing the properties on the appropriate page of the Properties window. You can edit attributes for any individual object by selecting the object and changing the attribute on the info page. You can add an additional attribute by clicking the Add button. You can rename an attribute by clicking the Rename button. And you can delete an attribute by clicking the Delete icon. You can reshape polygons and polylines within the base map layer by selecting the object and clicking Features, Edit Features, Reshape. This concludes the video training for creating and editing base maps in Surfer 14. For more information on advanced base layer editing, such as using the attribute table or entering the base layer group to perform operations like adding objects to the base layer, querying or changing properties of multiple objects, see our Advanced Editing of Base Map Objects training video. If you have any additional questions, please contact Golden Software.